Hello and welcome. In this video I'm going over a simple trading strategy with Python. The strategy we are looking at is time series momentum. That is, if the asset was rising by a certain percentage, buy it, hold it, then sell it. Also goes the other way around, so if the asset was dropping by a certain percentage, short it. I'm not covering the short side in this video, I might in follow-up videos. In specific, so in this video, what I'm going to build with Python is, if the asset was rising by 5% over the last 20 days, hold it for 10 days, then sell it. That being said, let's get started. Alright, first things first, libraries. Why finance to pull asset or stock prices from the internet, and pandas for data handling. Next, I'm going to pull stock prices for Apple. Just as an example, you can pick whatever asset you're interested in. Same for the time horizon. I'm just picking a random time horizon here, so 2020 until 2024, but you can pick whatever time horizon you're interested in. This is providing me a daily prices data frame. And the manipulations I need to do to that data frame is, first of all, calculate a 20-day return. And I'm just doing that by adding a column to that data frame here. So I'm creating a column here, red 20 for return over the last 20 days. Take the close column here. Just as a side note, you also have an adjusted close column. I'm taking the close column as it makes things way easier. Because if you take the adjusted close column, you also have to adjust the open column, which we are using in some minutes. So for simplicity, I'm taking the close column here to avoid some work. So take the close column, apply the percentage change function on it, and provide a rolling window. So that is our look back, which is 20 days. This will give you a new column here containing the 20 days return. So how does this work? If you just get rid of the NaNs for now, and you will see this value here, that is the return for the first 20 days on this data frame. So the calculation is straightforward. You just take this close, so the very first close price on the 1st January or 2nd January here. This is your initial price on the first day, and this is your price on the 31st here, so this price here. And if you take that into relation, you will get a return of exactly this number you see here. So simply the 20-day return. And this you will get for every single day here. All right, so this is a rolling 20-day return. So on every single row, you have the last 20-day return. So that is critical, or that is very important that you have that. So we have the 20-day return. And next, I'm going to create a signal column. And that signal column is simply, is this return over the last 20 days larger than 5%? That is our buying condition. So calling that signal, and that is simply, is my red 20 larger 5%. So this will provide you a signal column here, and to get rid of the first NaN values, I just did that, but I didn't overwrite the old data frame, just dropping NaN values and set in place to true to overwrite the current data frame with the data frame without the NaN values here. So if I'm executing that, you will see I'm just starting at the end of January, having no NaN values in my data frame. Now, very important here, I have my signal column and I have all other stuff I need to implement my strategy basically. But one important thing is missing, and that is, if you have, for instance, this return here, that includes also this value here. So this close price is part of this calculation. Meaning you cannot, when you're getting a signal, you cannot buy for this price. You can only buy for the next day's open. So what I'm going to do to make things way simpler is to get the next day's open in the same row as the potential signal is occurring. So simply, I'm just creating a new column here and shift this column one row back. So I have the buy price when a potential signal is occurring in the same row. So calling that buy price, take the open and shift that one row back. So this is looking like this. Very straightforward. So you see, you're just getting this buy price, which is the next day's open here. This buy price, next day's open, and so on. So we have everything prepared to build this trading strategy, but to make it even more simple or even more clear, let's go through it step by step, so with a dry run. So let's see what would happen if we just pull out the first signal and play this trading strategy through without coding anything, just purely from a logical perspective. I think that's very helpful to understand what is actually going on in the next steps. So you already see that we have a buying signal here. And that is because the 20-day return, what you're seeing here, is above 5%. Straightforward, right? So that is false because that's below 5, and that is our first buying signal. So we buy on that date, so 4th of February 2020. We buy on that date, and then we buy it on the next day's open, as said, so for this price. So we buy here after this signal, and then we hold it for 5 days. And as we buy on the open, I'm just calculating, or I'm just counting this day in. So we buy and hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you don't see it here. Let me change that. Let's just pull the first 8 rows here. So we buy here on that day for that price. Or you can also pull that price from the same row as I just explained. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So on this day, we are selling for the close. So we are selling for this one. That is our sell price. As said, this is our buy price. So the return for the first trade would be minus 1.2%. Let's play it through for the next trade, just to make it 100% crystal clear how this is working, and then we are coding the whole logic within a loop. So next one, I have to actually search for it, where the next signal is. There it is. Okay, let me pull some more rows here. So for the 9th of April, you have the next buying signal. Let's just pull, 57 here. So here's the next signal. So return, 20-day return over 5%. So we are buying for this price here. Let's get rid of that for now. This is our buy price. Then we need the sell price. So we have this one. Then we buy here. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are selling for this price. And we are getting quite a significant return of 5.4%. All right. So this is the whole concept. So what I'm just going to do now is what I showed you in detail here. I think that's pretty helpful to get a better understanding, is to just loop over this data frame and implement what I logically just explained to you. And that's what I'm going to do next. So let's set up a list here where we store the profits. So the profits are just what I just showed you. So sell price in relation to the buy price. So the profit of the trade. This is what we are going to store on this profits list. Then I'm taking a position flag, and that is just a Boolean value which is changing whenever I'm getting into a position and also I'm getting out of a position. What I also need for this specific strategy is a sell index. And this sell index initially is just a date value which is before our all time. So I'm just creating a timestamp here, pandas to datetime, and provide beginning of the century here, so 1900, just a date far before our time. And this is our initial sell index. Background of this is later on in this loop, you check for your buying signal being after the last sell index. That is simply to avoid overlapping positions here. So next, I'm looping. So for index row, taking a itero approach here for index row in df iteros. So I'm just looping over the data frame. And now the most important thing are the conditions here. So first of all, if I'm not in a position, that is initially the case. So the position flag is false. If I'm not in a position and I'm getting a row signal, that is simply I'm getting a true value in this signal column. And also the index is larger than my last sell index, which is initially just checking for 1900. So initially this condition is just being triggered automatically because the index will be higher than this one, but that's fine. It is just important for the second iteration and all other subsequent iterations here. If those conditions are fulfilled, so I'm not in a position and I'm getting a buying signal and my current index of the iteration is larger than my last selling index, then I know I'm getting a valid buying signal. So I can store my buy price, and my buy price is simply the value of my buy price column on that position. So you can simply take df log, screen for the index, and then take the first row here, screen for the buy price, and then just screen for the value. So that is a way to do it. There are simpler ways. I'm just taking this way because I'm also using that for the selling values, which looks quite inconvenient, is straightforward. So let me give you an example. If you take the data frame and screen for the first index where you get a buying signal, which was, where was it again? Which was the 4th of February 2020 here. So if you screen for that, let's just take that here. Let me comment that out for now. You will just get all rows from this date on, and then you screen for just the very first row. So you're doing it with that. As I said, this is important because this is the selling logic. This is the same logic as the selling logic. I want to keep it the same. Then you just get this row here. And if you screen for the buy price value now, so the next day is open, you just get the buy price, and as I just want to get this number, I'm screening for the values here. So that is the background here. So with that, I'm just getting my buy price. Simple as that. Now I have my buy price, and now I'm in the position. I bought, and my position flag is true. And now comes my selling condition. So if I'm in a position now, I have to check my sell price. And my sell price, and this is why I explained the buy price logic in detail, follows the buy price logic, but so same approach here. So I'm checking where am I currently, but now I want to sell, as I said in the beginning, 5 days after I bought. So I'm checking, instead of just screening for the first row, I'm checking 5 rows after that. So I'm checking row 5 to 6 and then screen for the close, and then again pull the values. So let me also show you how this is working. So df log, same story as before. We had, what was it again? 4th of February, do I remember it correctly? Let me check. Yeah, 4th of February 2020. And then let's just pull it like this. And now if you want to go for the values after 5 days, you just pull 5 to 6. And then you end up at the 11th of February and can pull the close price here. All right. So if you take this and just check the head of that. So let's pull the first 6 rows here. So we bought here, then we bought for this price, count this day in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are selling on this close. And if you do it like this, you see that you're getting exactly this value. And then again, just check for the close value, and then to extract the value, you'll do it like this. Just as a side note, there are other ways to do that. I think this is the most straightforward one for now. There are a ton of other options to do exactly that. Next, very important, sell index. After you have found your sell price, you just take this exact same logic that I just showed to you and pull the index. And with that, you know when you sold. So in my example, 11th of February. And then you have a profit, and your profit is simply your sell price minus the buy price divided by the buy price. And then after you have calculated the profit for that trade, you just append it to your profits list. And then you set the position flag to false to indicate that you're not in position anymore. And that is it. So that is exactly doing what I showed you step by step some minutes ago. So if I'm executing that, getting an error, so I messed up somewhere, yeah. Had a typo here, sorry for that. So executing that again. So we got an array of profits, and this is showing you the profits for each trade. And as you see here, and if you remember what I just explained, this is exactly the first profit of the trade I showed you manually, and this is the second trade I showed you manually as well. So that is exactly calculating what we were interested in. So you can wrap that list into a series to have an easier time for calculation. So you can observe how every single trade is looking like. You have some very nice trades, you have some very bad trades. Overall, did you make a profit? You have to accumulate the profits of the trade. So you can simply take the profits, add a 1 to that, and accumulate the profits by taking the cumulative product of that. And then you can plot that as well to get the equity curve here, or the development of your strategy over your trades. And as you see, you end up at roughly 30 something %. So if you want to have that in a number, you can just get rid of the cumulative here and just pull the product. So this is your overall profit. If you want to see it raw, you see that you made 36%, taking trading fees out of consideration. So if you want to do something like a buy and hold comparison, so Apple was rising by 120% over this time period. So the buy and hold approach would have outperformed the momentum approach here, but you just tested it for a certain parameter pair, right? So who is telling you what is the optimal look back, what is the optimal threshold, and what is the optimal holding period? So what is the next very interesting step here is to factorize all of that. So to factorize the function and then optimize for the holding period, the look back, the threshold, and so on. Then also test for short selling. So test this momentum approach with shorting the asset. There's a lot more to do here, but I think that's more than enough for now. If you are interested in that, happy to go over it. I think it's an extremely hot topic, and I hope this video was interesting, informative, and I'm looking forward to see you in the upcoming videos. While thank you for watching. Cheers.